Hey, so here's another video that I wanted to make about some things that just happened to me recently. So I took some notes down from the last one. This happened about a week ago, and these are just kind of sporadic notes that I'm going to share with you guys. And so the notes that I had here, basically, they were telling me, or I'll just say they were telling me that the more awake you are, the more you will see, and we have to raise our thoughts in order for them to help us. I'm sorry, we have to raise our thoughts, which by default is going to help ourselves and the whole entire energy grid. And I'll talk about this a little bit more with regards to the news. Also, it says when you're going through something hard, understand that there are those who have been there before you, and you should feel very comfortable asking for help for your specific situation. And so if you're awake and you understand that this is possible, they will come and help you. And so what I wanted to talk about, the whole energy thing, the whole thoughts. And if you find out, if you watch my other videos, you'll see that it's kind of a common thread that I'm always talking about being mindful of our thoughts and this and that, which kind of leads me to want to talk about the news. You know, the news is always bad, especially politics. Regardless of how you feel about the administration, 9 times out of 10, it's not very positive. For any administration in this country, if you really think about it. But the point is, I think it's important to be informed, but just don't give it that emotional energy that you can deliver, and that doesn't deserve that. That doesn't deserve your energy. Is kind of like what they're telling you. Because I mean, if you really think about it, it doesn't make any sense. Why are you going to get upset over what's happening in DC? I was just watching an interview about this doctor. And he did this 10-year study, and maybe I'll share the link, maybe I won't. You could do your own research. But this guy's talking about how he discovered there are other doctors in China, and probably here too, that they're freaking killing people while they're alive to harvest their organs and sell them to the highest bidder. Man, that's some shit. That's a big freaking deal. And so if you're worried about a stupid wall or freaking Russia hacking or global warming or whatever, man, there's all kinds of things you can really worry about and focus on. I just think that, you have to be mindful. The world's always on fire, man. There's always something to worry about. Always. And so, and again, not that you have to be disconnected, but just be mindful of what you give your energy to, because that's not a very positive thing, and all you can do, like what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pray as much as I can, to help people that are in need or in despair or et cetera, et cetera. Maybe you should do it too. I mean, I don't think it's going to hurt just to pray for people, man. Not everyone has a good situation, and people don't even have freaking, anyways, I can go on and on. So it was showing me that I had a vision of kind of like me, like kind of like in space. And then remember the movie The Avengers, when Thanos had the Infinity Stones? It's kind of silly, I know, but here's my point. And then it was telling me that imagine all the wonderful, beautiful stones that exist, not just on Earth, but throughout the galaxy. And then I had a vision of almost like marbles. So like in this jar were a bunch of marbles. I'm gonna start over. I then saw this vision of a jar full of marbles, but I knew that those marbles were instinctively, like, they represented my blood cells, okay, and they were clear. And then I had a vision, and it showed me like all these precious gemstones, kind of like when I go to the gem show in Tucson. It showed me this picture of all these beautiful gemstones from all over the world and all over the universe, and they were kind of funneling in, almost like an hourglass type thing, and they were all funneling in to where my blood cells were. And then they kind of like just shrunk, and they were being incorporated. It was basically telling me that you should incorporate this type of beauty down to the minutest level as to your blood cell. So then I had like a picture of my blood cell, so to speak, with all these precious diamonds within it. And then it told me, don't only, be very mindful of which ones you select. I mean, you can put as many as you want, but understand why you're picking that specific stone. Understand the vibrational energy and frequency that stone resonates with, and then become that and incorporate that into who you are on a molecular level. And that's how you become who you're truly destined to be. Now that sounds pretty crazy, but if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. if we can change the way we see ourselves down to that, like if you, let's just use a simple diamond or a sapphire. I love sapphires. Imagine you put a beautiful diamond and a sapphire, right? And something in it. The energy that those two beautiful stones radiate are now part of that cell, so to speak. Well, imagine if you do that, you customize your own blood cells. And again, they always tell me that we have the ability to do this. We can heal ourselves. Our minds are that strong where we can do these things. And so instead of thinking about, back to what I was saying, instead of thinking about a stupid wall or humans being chopped up, while they're fucking alive so they can steal their organs, instead of worrying about these things, why don't you focus on bettering yourself? Because that's really I'm not going to fly to China to stop these doctors from doing that. I'm not going to not to the border and fight or support this wall. I'm not going to do that stuff. And neither are you. Let's be real. You're not. So the point is, but what you can do is be mindful of your thoughts. And so if you're going to waste or spend time thinking about things, why don't you think about things that just make you a better person? Because when you make you a better person, by default, you make your family better, you make your friends better, and you make the world better. Gandhi was right, man. You got to be the change you want to see in the world. And so, when I first got that, I didn't even want to share it because it sounded kind of cheesy, to tell you the truth. But it kind of makes sense to me. And so now I'm actually in the process of picking out which stones I kind of want to incorporate and how I want to be. How do I want to create myself? Or recreate myself, if you will. Not a bad thing to think about. So then on Sunday, I had this download. This was really deep. And this was almost like, it was beautiful, but it was kind of like there was a lot of anguish in this download that I got. So I don't know how, because my daughter wasn't even here, but my daughter and I are really, really connected. I mean, to the point where like if I'm like, we can actually feel each other sometimes, So I got this download and I felt like it was like a secret part of my daughter, like a subconscious part of my daughter. And what it was is I found myself, so I got the download, and then I found myself underground. We were like in an underground cavern. And then if you remember the movie Indiana Jones, the second one with the little Chinese kid, and they're underground in that tunnel in India with all the slaves. So it was kind of like that. So we were underground, and there was one of those carts, and there two carts, and they were separated by like a little, some kind of, not a walkway. It looked like a river. And like I said, maybe it was 10 feet across, 12 feet across, and I was elevated and she was elevated on that edge. And then inside the car, I saw like a silhouette of my daughter. I couldn't really see her, but I knew that it was her energetically. And then she had like this light green light surrounding her. And then I'm going to use money because it's just easier that way. It kind of makes more sense that way. And then I'll explain at the very end. So she had set up this account where she was like, it was like an auto pay. And like every month I'd get like $200 or like $200,000. It was just this outrageous amount. And my daughter was like very, very wealthy. And she had told like an assistant, again, this is the best way I can describe it. Like she told one of her assistants, hey, I want you to set up this account. Make sure it goes to my dad every month without fail. And then don't ever mention this to me ever again. Set it up and be done with it. Okay, I don't ever want to revisit this ever again. So it was something to the equivalent of like $200,000 per month. I remember it was a huge amount. And that was it. So then I understood. Okay, so then she was sending me money per month, per se, every single month. And then I saw kind of like this background, like this backstory behind it. And the reason she had set up the account was because if I ever overdrafted, she would be devastated because she knows that with all the money that she has, this should have never happened, or she's doing everything that she could to avoid it, per se. And then it took me down, and then there was almost like a little door, and that was kind of like the overdraft door. So then it opened up, and it says it was telling me if you ever overdraft. And then it opened up to like this big old cavern. It was like a big old freaking Lord of the Rings dragon. And this dragon was just destroying everything. It was just bad. So bottom line is, if I overdrafted, it was really, really bad. And she did not know how to deal with this dragon, per se. So the reason I use money is because it wasn't really money. It was energy. And then because, you know, my daughter's just concerned for my, I'm her dad, you know, and I'm on the wrong side of 40. And so she was, so a part of her was concerned that something bad was going to happen to me. So she was feeding me spiritual, she set up an account to feed me spiritual energy pretty much for life. I can't even make that stuff up. I can't even make it up. So yeah, that happened to me this past week, which was, I thought was really, really interesting. You know, thanks to my daughter. So yeah, I think that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching. I'm getting a little bit better at these videos as far as editing is concerned, and so I hope that wasn't too boring. And again, I just want to share these because I've been writing them down. But anyways, I hope you got something out of it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Bye.